The coronavirus, a coincidence or deliberately used as a bioweapon?
Since mid-January, the coronavirus has dominated the headlines of the mainstream press. Seemingly out of nowhere, a virus suddenly appears in the Chinese city of Wuhan and terrifies the world. Nearly every hour, the number of people suffering from and dying of the disease is updated. Those affected are under quarantine, and in China, there are already curfews in some cities. This raises serious questions that have hardly been discussed so far, such as where does the dangerous coronavirus come from? There are various reports in the media that snakes, bats, or even scaly anteaters are the cause or the carrier of the virus. However, the virologist Dr. Alan Cantwell proves through 107 references to corresponding experiments described in the database of scientific publications PubMed that the genetic manipulation of coronaviruses has been taking place both in medical and military laboratories since 1987. Here is a quote from Dr. Alan Cantwell. I quickly discovered that for over a decade, scientists have been genetically engineering animals and human coronaviruses to produce disease-causing mutant and recombinant viruses. No wonder that WHO scientists have identified the SARS coronavirus so quickly. This unsupervised research produces dangerous artificial viruses, many of which have the potential to be used as bioweapons. An expert analysis by virologist Dr. James Lyons Weiler even shows that a unique fragment in the gene sequence of the virus can only have been introduced in a laboratory. The findings of the two virologists that the dangerous coronavirus originates from a laboratory and has been genetically modified is supported by the fact that several patents on coronaviruses have been officially registered. These facts inevitably lead to another important question. Could the coronavirus have been deliberately released at the location of the outbreak? The Wuhan Institute of Virology is located very close to the food and fish market in Wuhan, where the virus first appeared. According to the German television news magazine Tagesschau, this is the only Chinese laboratory in the entire Chinese nation that works with biosubstances and viruses of the highest risk level. But there is another laboratory working with viruses in Wuhan, WuXi Pharma Tech Incorporated, which is financed by the American billionaire George Soros. Could there be a connection based on the proximity of the laboratories to the outbreak location and based on the statements of the two virologists? This would mean that this is not just a conspiracy theory, to use the hackneyed media mantra. Interestingly enough, the events in Wuhan are very reminiscent of two bestsellers. The thriller The Eyes of Darkness by Dean Koontz, published in 1981, and the prophetic tome End of Days, written by Sylvia Browne in 2008. These books describe important features of the current pandemic scenario. Best-selling author Dean Koontz writes about a virus originating from a Chinese bioweapons laboratory in Wuhan that triggers a pandemic. End of Days predicts a pandemic in 2020 in which people die of lung failure. Here are more similarities. 1. The trigger, a virus. 2. Where did it originate? In a bioweapons lab in China. 3. In what city? In Wuhan. 4. When? In 2020. 5. With what consequences? People are dying from lung failure. In the thriller The Eyes of Darkness, the virus is called the perfect weapon. It kills the enemy without a fight and without infrastructural devastation. This wouldn't be the first time an event of far-reaching significance is accurately predicted in advance. See our program Global Crises to see how often this has occurred. A further indication that the coronavirus could be a targeted military bioweapon is the fact that certain ethnicities, especially the Chinese and Japanese, due to their genetics, are much more endangered by the coronavirus than other people, such as Arabs and Europeans. This is also reflected by the number of sick and dead. Dear viewers, form your own opinion as to whether the coronavirus emerged purely accidentally or whether it was deliberately produced and used as a military bioweapon. Our sources are linked in the final credits.
Do you find the facts revealed in this program interesting? Then spread the link to this broadcast in the social networks or forward it by email to as many of your friends and acquaintances as possible.